Perfect,
Thank you.
perfect. We will start in about a minute or two. Crispin is going to be our moderator for this session. He will get us started, and then once we come to the end, about 10 minutes to the hour, we ask that facilitators wrap up, and Crispin will take us home and close the session. So with
Mhm.
that, we have about 10 in here. Crispin, if you can just give one more minute, I think it'll allow everybody to get into the room.
Yeah. Welcome to World Futures Day. Young Voices, this section is brought to you by Teach the Future, a global non-profit dedicated to embedding futures literacy in education worldwide. World Futures Day is a partnership with Millennium Project. Right now, we are all part of a 24-hour global conversation about our futures, creating a space where all generations, especially young voices, can share their visions, concerns, and action driven projects towards a better tomorrow. Let's make this conversation count. You can find facilitator bios on the event page. Facilitators, take it away.
Thank you, Crispin, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Svenia. I'm very happy to be here today. I don't know if we have many people in the room. Let's see. It's supposed to be a very interactive workshop, so let's see if some people interact with us. I'm here with Hudson, who plays it cool with his sunglasses on.
Hello.
and uh, and yeah, we're gonna start, and hopefully we will have some participation. So let me share my screen, and you will tell me if you all see it in a minute. Okay, here we are. All right. I think you all see it now. So welcome, everyone. Just a brief introduction about me. I'm an education innovation explorer. I write about the future of education. I also have a podcast that is called Education Futures, where I interview a lot of different people and I think about what's next for education and learning in the age of AI. And I'm passionate about this topic. And I'm here today with Hudson.
Hi. My name is Hudson. Can you hear me? By the way, is that
Yes,
it works?
perfectly.
Perfect. Okay, yeah. Um, I'm a high school student. I'm 16 and I do research on human computer interaction. Specifically right now I'm focusing on teaching computer science. And yeah.
Perfect. And so before we wanted to start, our session is going to be on agency and how to learn in the age of AI. And before we're going to start the session, we want to do a little icebreaker. And so it's very easy. You can just click on this link that I'm going to put in the chat. It's going to be way easier for you. Um, Okay. And Here you go. So this is the link. You can click on the link or scan this QR code as you wish. And we will ask you to answer a couple of questions to get to know you better. So please click on the link. Please scan this QR code. The other way either way is fine. And we're going to start with the very first question we want to ask you. One word to describe the role that AI plays in your life. One word to say how you use it. And one word just to summarize your AI use. All right. Some people use it as an assistant, as an engine to improve workflow, for school, for information. Wonderful. For brainstorming as well. Yes. Great. Excellent. Now I'm very curious to know if we have AI, if AI is accessible to all of us, why should we learn anything? If knowledge is available 24/7 everywhere, thanks to AI, why should we learn anything? So I'm looking forward to hearing your arguments for learning in the age of AI. If AI knows everything and is accessible, why should I learn anything? I will let you some minutes to type your answers. Why should we learn anything if AI is here and AI can give us the answers instantly? You can also unmute yourself if it's easier, if you want to share. Feel free to share while unmuting yourself. Oops, I'm going to put this like here. All right. Knowledge is not the same as wisdom, understanding, or the ability to act. Indeed, that's very wise. So learning is also useful to develop understanding and the ability to act. To avoid becoming Wally's humans. After all, we exist to create, think, love, and inspire. And thankfully, AI can't do that yet. Beautiful. To create a sense of self, to know who you are and what you believe, to then create relationships and connection, to be in relationship as human. Beautiful. To develop power skills. I'm really curious to know what power skills are. For the person who answered that, feel free to share in the chat or just by unmuting yourself. What do you mean by power skills? Beautiful answers, by the way. I really love your answers. Excellent. All right. Is there anything that worries you when you think of AI and its rapid advancements? Anything on your mind that you are worrying about when you think about how fast it's all going? Thank you, Greta, for sharing what you meant with power skills in the chat. Thank you. The thing that worries you is the damage caused to the environment, for sure. The lack of ethical considerations. Thank you for sharing. Videos, schools, the decline of critical thinking. Yes, that worries me a lot as well. The decline in judgment, the decline in agency, the economic disruption. Thanks for sharing, absolutely. Workforce disruption is a real thing, for sure. Anything else that worries you when you think about AI and how fast it's moving? Job displacement. Yes, that's a big one. We haven't had time to address how AI will shape our future and develop plans to address those changes. We're just racing toward a certain future. Yes. Fake news, misinformation, all of those things worry you. Replacing therapists, replacing lawyers. Yes, I see your worry. Cybersecurity attacks, that's definitely a real worry. Yes, thank you so much for sharing all your worries. Systems are so entangled that we can't go back. That's a real thing. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing all of these things that might worry you in the age of AI, and I completely understand where you're coming from. So what we wanted to do today, we wanted to talk about some of the things that worry us. And one of the things that worry us is the fact that AI is keeping us from learning, because learning, developing judgment, developing skills requires some effort. And so I wanted to start briefly with a first part where I would love for you to reflect with me on the philosophy of effort. And then Hudson will share some practical tools and tips on how to use AI in a way that doesn't, puts away this effort. So the core challenge is agency. And what agency means is basically the definition of agency is the capacity to act independently and make free choices, right? And so we might lose that sense of agency. The risk is really that we move from AI as a tool to AI as a crutch, right? A calculator is a tool if you know how to do the math. It's a crutch if you literally can't multiply 7 by 8 without it, right? So it's the same with AI. It's great if you use it as a tool, and Hudson will talk about this later. It's not that much if you use it as a crutch. So when we offload to the AI the process of thinking, we often unknowingly offload the result of judgment. And so it's really important when you think about how you use AI that you reflect on, am I offloading my judgment to the machine? What am I offloading by asking this question, or by having the AI write my essay? What am I offloading? And so this is really important because better isn't always easier. When you go the easy route, when you ask the AI to do your homework for you, you are not learning at all, right? You are offloading a certain task, but you are not putting in the effort that is required. And there is another part that is really important here, is that this internal dialogue disappears with AI, right? And so there's one thing that I love about Hannah Arendt, the philosopher. She spoke about thoughtlessness. Thoughtlessness is the failure to actually think about what one is doing. In the context of AI, it's exacerbated by what we call sycophancy. The AI sycophancy. Most LLMs are trained to please the user. If you lead with a biased question, the AI will likely follow your lead. And this kills the internal dialogue because there is no other to argue with, right? You are in front of someone that will always go your way. So we have to realize that a helpful AI that always agrees, that is agreeable with us, is actually a threat to our intellectual autonomy, right? We really need to develop AIs that are thinking partners. I would love to also hear Hudson talk about this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Hudson. But the danger is that we have no one that thinks with us. That challenges us with the psycho-fancy trap of an agreeable AI that is always polite and that obviously goes our way. We want the AI to not go our way, to ask us different questions, to challenge our thinking. And for now, this is not the case. Do you want to add something, Hudson, to this?
Yeah. I think that sycophancy is like it's something that's been like thrown around a lot. I think that it's obviously negative, but when you're using any technology, I I think that you should be considering like what is your objective for whatever you're using, right? So is the objective to learn? Is the objective to be pleased and to feel good about yourself? What is the objective function? What is the cost function of using this technology, right? And when we're in school, it's also like a very important question to ask. So if you're simply just learning to get the grade, then maybe copying with AI is your best your best bet, right? But if you're trying to learn, I think that it makes more sense to probably makes more sense to focus on learning and really asking the AI to give you in-depth feedback, and I think that that's something that we need to focus on more.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is the importance of muscling up the brain. If you are not putting any effort in your learning, any productive friction, as I call it, you're not muscling up the brain. Your brain muscles can atrophy if you're not using it, right? So it's super important that we start valuing going the hard way, the hard route, not the easy route, the hard way, because of the mental muscles it builds. And effort often equals retention. We remember and understand what we struggle with, what we repeat also in time. And so it's really important that we see effort, that we see the hard way as something valuable. And it's really important that we also think of judgment as a muscle that we need to strengthen. If we only get the information that we want from an AI, we're not, being we're not capable of agency, of judgment, because we receive without thinking ourselves. So friction, going the hard way, effort is absolutely fundamental for learning. And so I want to do a little exercise. If you grab a pen and a paper and you write your first name with your non-dominant hand, what happens? Please try this little exercise, and then if you can, show it to us on camera with your camera, or you can send us in the chat the result, or just share in the chat what happens if you write your first name with your non-dominant hand. How do you feel? How does it make you feel to do that? And yeah, if you can share the results, that's great. We would love to see it. every time I do this exercise, I have very funny results that are showed. So some people can do it extremely well. Others, yeah. So Maria, I don't see, unfortunately, because of the background, I don't see it so well. But yeah, it's often a really hard exercise. So, Maria, you can share if you want to unmute yourself and share how you felt during this exercise. Same for you, Chimsy, if you want to share the how it looks like.
Yeah, I agree with what Stephanie sent in the chat. Feels like I'm learning how to write my name for the first time. Very close to Egyptian hieroglyphy. It's a very fun experience, actually.
Exactly. It's really like, yeah, it's like learning to write for the first time, right? But on with the other hand, it makes the effort is real, the friction is real. How did you feel, Chimsy? We can't hear you on mute. You're on mute, but feel free to show us the result of your drawing. Okay. Yes, it looks like, when I do this exercise, it's the same. It looks like a 3 or 5-year-old tried to write your name, right? It's exactly that because you're learning how to write for the first time with your other hand, right? So it looks like the worst handwriting in the world, says Crispin. Yes, it's exactly that because you're trying something new. But if you do it every day for hundreds of days, I can assure you that in the end it's going to look quite nice. And that's what's learning about. Learning is about repetition, is about friction, is about, oh, it's tough. And then I learn how to practice and how to do it better and better and better. But it really requires friction. And learning is part of your everyday life. It often starts with a challenge, like I gave you now. I gave you a challenge, write your name with your non-dominant hand. It starts with a challenge or a curiosity. Then you have to put in some effort. It is uncomfortable, like writing with your non-dominant hand. It is uncomfortable. Then you see the action, you see some outcome, even if it's not perfect. You made it, you wrote your name, and then it gives you some positive feedback, and your brain releases dopamine, which is a hormone of joy and happiness, and it gives you the motivation to repeat this entire process, right? But the friction is an entire part of learning. You cannot remove that part. It's impossible. And we need to recognize friction, effort as something cool, as something part of the entire process, right? So thank you so much for participating in this little experiment. And it was just a first, I just wanted to give you this little introduction to share that about the fact that friction is absolutely necessary, absolutely fundamental. And now Hudson, I'd love to hear your thoughts and how you work with AI and what you can teach us about how to use AI in a meaningful way.
Yeah, I think that um, it's very important to consider, like I said earlier, um, what your use case is for these models, right? So um, when it really depends on what your purpose is, right? So I do a lot of research and I use Claude a lot as a copilot. Um, but I think the most helpful things to the couple of participants that there are would be trying to get a sense for like what are a lot of your use cases, and then maybe I can give some better advice.
Yeah. good idea. Maybe we can ask our participants what your use cases are for now. So if you want to share, maybe Maria, how do you use AI and what are your use cases? Is it to do your homework? Is it to think? Is it how do you use it, Maria?
I tend to use it the less I can, especially because I'm the one concerned with the environment impact. So I'm like, okay, I can't abuse this technology, and at least until it stops to damage our environment the way it does. But I use it mostly to enhance what I already produced. So like I wrote a text. So then if I feel like it's not yet there, like it's missing something, then I go to the chat GPT or its brothers, any of them, and I send my test and ask for an opinion. And if I agree, well, then I add this extra spice to my composition and then it's done. So basically, that's how I use it.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
So your prompt is basically just tell me what you think about my essay.
Yeah, basically this. Like it needs do I have to change something? Is this okay for what I intend to do? Like I know you have to be very detailed with the prompts, otherwise its response will not be accurate. So but basically that's it.
Thank you. Shall we hear from others? Crispin, how are you using AI?
I use it for clarifying doubts and for to check whether I'm trying new thing, and if it's to check whether it's there already or it's patent.
Thank you. Who else wants to share in the chat or just by unmuting themselves how they use AI? What's their, use case? Okay. So what would you say, Hudson, to these two different use cases? Oh, we can't hear
for
you.
writing, for example, I think that it's generally it's good to provide the LLM as much context as possible. So Svenia, if you go to the next screen, or I guess two over, go to the one after this.
Yes.
Actually, I guess I.
You can share your screen as well if it's easier.
Yeah, I can do this. Okay, yeah. Let's see.
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So like, here's a good example, right? In this example, let's see if it loads. I had to learn some physics, right? So and maybe this may be a better example actually. Here, so for my research, right? I wanted to give as much context as possible. So I gave them this like probably 200-page, notes document. I gave this very detailed prompt of like, these are the schools that I, like, these are the conferences that my work is from. This is,
We can't hear you, Hudson. I'm sorry. It looks like your internet connection is unstable. Can you hear me, Hudson? Oh, I think we've lost Hudson. But yeah, what he was trying to say is, you were right, Maria, to say that context is extremely important in your prompt. The more context you give, the better. And so what I also love doing is I love using it as a Socratic tutor. I ask him to act like a Socratic tutor, like Socrates himself, the Greek philosopher. I ask him to ask me questions, to challenge me, and not to give me the answer. So when I send him a text that I wrote, for example, I ask him, can you challenge me? Exactly like if you were a Socratic tutor, challenge me and ask me questions, and so that I find myself where the flaws are in my text, where the errors are, and so that it comes from me, so I don't lose that judgment, because if he or she or it, sorry, an AI, if it gives me all the answers, how can I keep my judgment sane and alive, right? So I love doing that, and I love really this idea of a Socratic tutor. And, I put here an example of a prompt that you can also give, a prompt that you can copy paste. I want to learn about this topic, X. Act as a Socratic tutor. Your goal is to help me understand the concept by asking me a series of leading questions that build on my existing knowledge. Do not give me the full explanation or the answer immediately. Instead, break the concepts into small, digestible parts. And if I'm stuck, give me a subtle hint or an analogy rather than the solution. And start by asking what I already know about this topic. And so I'm going to copy paste this prompt in the chat for those who are interested in using it next time they use an AI, because it's a great way to use it for, in a way that is not putting away your judgment. You need to keep your judgment alive and make sure that you basically shape the AI as you want it to become, right? You can shape it to be the Socratic tutor. You can shape it to be whatever you want with the right prompt. So the prompt is absolutely fundamental, right? So yeah, that's why I wanted to share with you this prompt. Hello, Ethan. Welcome, Ethan. Do you want to share something, Ethan, about how you use AI? If you use AI, what is your use case?
AI.
Yes.
Yes, I use AI sometimes to create images about birds, or sometimes to invest to share information about birds, nature, and ecosystem. So yeah, I use AI, but just for nature, and to use Eber. Eber is a organization, application where you can see different kinds of birds, and when I take note about that birds, it is to international level, and even see if the bird is correct. Yes, so it's not just to take note, it's an information important to all world. So yeah, AI is important for me, but no, I know how to use correctly, and yeah, it's important for nature, but we need to use correctly.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, indeed. And it's a great source of information for sure. But, what I feel is important is that we don't use AI as a crutch, as I said, but really as something that is empowering for us, that can empower us, empower our judgment, and make sure that we keep our judgment alive and we keep that judgment skill of, okay, can I think for myself, or do I need AI to think? Can I do my homework for myself, or do I need AI to do my homework for me? This is super important. So this is why I wanted to share with you some of the different prompts that you can use to make sure that AI doesn't become this crutch. Second prompt that you can use to help you learn in a very efficient way, ask the AI to be your personal tutor. For example, this prompt will also help you if you have already started studying a topic, for example, birds, and you want to find out where your mental model is leaky, or where are the flaws in you remembering about these different birds. You can say, I have studying birds. I've been studying birds. I want you to test my understanding around active recall. Active recall is a technique, a learning technique that works very well on the brain. Ask me one challenging question at a time that requires me to apply the concept to a real world scenario. After I answer, do not just tell me if I'm right. Instead, evaluate my reasoning. Point out any knowledge gaps or misconceptions, and then ask a follow-up question to help me correct my own thinking. This is another prompt that you can use that will allow you to keep your judgment alive, and to keep learning, and to keep the effort intact, right? Because that's what we want. We want the effort to be intact. So I'm also going to copy paste that second prompt into the chat. If you want to use it, you will learn much more efficiently if you use these prompts when learning. Okay, if you only ask the AI, give me the answer to this question, your brain is not muscling up. Your brain might atrophy very quickly, right? So this is why it's so important to think about that. Last one, steel man challenge. What is a steel man? It's the opposite of a straw man. It means building the strongest possible version of the argument you disagree with. So this is great for your critical thinking skills. I don't know who said about the fact that they were very much worried about fake news, about the critical thinking in the age of AI. Here you have a challenge that you can do with any AI. And you can say, I believe X. Okay, I have an opinion on X. Tell me why a smart, ethical person would believe Y, so the opposite of me, and show me the 3 biggest flaws in my own logic. So this is a great exercise if you want to basically know where your own judgment, your own thinking is flawed. And this is also great to put yourself in the shoes of someone else who has another opinion. And sometimes we have debates in society, or inside the family, or with friends. We debate, we disagree. And to be able to muscle up your judgment, your critical thinking skills, you can, on any subject, write that prompt and say, I believe X, and tell me why a smart person would believe the opposite. I would say a smart, and I added a smart ethical person, right, would believe the opposite of me. And so this is a great way also to strengthen your critical thinking muscle. I'm going to also share this prompt in the chat with you. So you can use it whenever you want to strengthen your critical thinking muscle. Okay. Excellent. This is what I wanted to share with you. So most people use AI like a vending machine. They put in a prompt, they get an answer, a snack. Like I put in a prompt, I get an answer, end of the story. But if you want to be a pro, you need to use it as a world-class coach. And a coach doesn't run the laps for you. A coach tells you how to breathe better and where your form is off, right? So it's extremely important that you use AI as a coach and not as a vending machine. Because if you use it as a vending machine, you might end up losing your judgment, your critical thinking skills, and your ability to learn. And this is really dangerous. So, yeah. Any questions, any reflection that you have on the topic of artificial intelligence and how you can use it in a better, more efficient way?
I want to talk.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, my name is Sidan. I am 12 years old. I am from Panama and I want to talk about AI. For me, it's an important bridge for the community, for my community, but not always. Yeah, can be important for study, for school, and for discover the world or about nature. I use principally for it and was something so funny. So I get that time to study and I discover more things that I do not know after. For example, the Bogosca loforina is one of the species more beautiful that I see. I don't see, but in images, it's incredible. I discover about Eber applications, Merlin Cornell Lab, and yeah, was so beautiful. In China, different kind of species of China, vultures, and I discovered that in Russia, the hummingbirds doesn't sing. So was something interesting, and like that, I discovered so much better things. For me, Aya is a bridge, and yeah, we need to use correctly,
Yeah.
and the patient for me.
Thank you so much for sharing. Malu, do you want to share something? All good? Okay. Who else wants to share something about AI, how they use it, something that might worry them, and or any reaction to what I just shared? Anything that you would like to say? Yes, Chimsy?
A couple uses that I use AI for, like, I'm in a couple of clubs where I have to write like a speech or something. So sometimes I use AI to like give me ideas. But something that worries me with AI is like the videos that are being used to make AI, and like it's getting harder and harder to know which is real and which is not. And like it just feels a little like confusing because most AI videos they don't have something under them saying AI, and AI is being used a lot more in like articles and a lot more things. And although I also use AI to like get ideas for my speech, I don't like completely use AI for everything I do. And like I know AI can be used to help people like learn, like if there's a math problem that your teacher doesn't fully explain, you can go and use AI. But AI could also just be used to take a picture of your homework and get all the answers for it and not learn anything at all.
Yeah.
And I'm just worried about like how people are using AI and like the negative sides of AI.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Jimsy, for sharing. It's a real thing. Did you know that 50% of all the content on the internet is now AI created? So pictures, videos, articles, 50% of all the content on the internet. And soon it's going to be 80, 90 maybe, And so the real question, Chimsy, is what is real? Where is truth in a world where everything can be faked? And this is what keeps me up at night. It's like, how do we verify information in a world where maybe soon 80% is going to be fake, because it's going to be fake pictures, fake videos, fake everything. So the notion of truth is almost scrambling down. It's almost disappearing, because we're getting into a world where truth might not exist anymore. We're not going to be able to recognize truth. Because you've seen the videos, right? You've seen the videos, they look, or the pictures sometimes they look like real pictures. So it's really it's quite scary. At the same time, that's why I think we should teach critical thinking skills in school. We should also teach judgment and reflection. And what I'm scared about is that I'm scared that the young people will offload their thinking to the machine because it's easier, and stop thinking by themselves. And this is the biggest worry I have. If you lose your agency, your capacity to think for yourself, to act for yourself, to make decisions, you also lose some parts of your humanity. And so this is why I'm also very big on AI literacy, teaching about these things, teaching about critical thinking, teaching about agency, judgment, so that we also keep those things alive. So yeah, I don't have the answer. My specialty is about education and learning and how to use AI for learning. And I gave you some prompts. I hope they're useful, but it's really a deep question that you're asking, Chimsy. Thank you so much for this. And yes, and Ethan agrees as well. It's a real thing, because AI can create pictures, can create videos, fake pictures, fake videos, and we lose this notion of what is real, what is real and what is not. And it's going to be more and more difficult to fact check things, and to verify the veracity of a picture, of an article. Soon we're not going to be able to do that anymore, and we need to be prepared for that world. And this is why we need to talk about these topics like agency and critical thinking in the age of AI, so that we prepare. Yeah. Which grade, Chimsy, are you in?
I'm in 7th grade.
Wow. I'm impressed that you're having such reflections in 7th grade.
Thank you.
Anyone else wants to react on AI, the use of AI and the responsible use of AI, and maybe share some of the things that you are doing to use AI in a safe, responsible way? Yes, Ethan?
Yeah, I am a bird watcher, and sometimes I see pictures where in other apps of a beautiful bird that seems real, a video, and all evidence. So I believe in it, and when I want to find a neighbor, was totally not true, was creating what why by AI, and was something that is annoying for me, because for a little bit and I get to nature to find the bird. So yeah, the AI is a world where we cannot discover if something is real or not, and for me it's something crazy, because happen happen with me sometimes, and not just sometimes, always, because they lie me, and it's annoying.
Yes, I know, Ethan. I know it's annoying. Sometimes the AI also hallucinates, even if it happens less and less because the AIs get more and more intelligence. And what we call hallucination is when the AI tells something that is not true, because the AI has not been trained to say, I don't know. So it will never tell you, I don't know. And this is a big problem because no one in this world knows everything, right? And so the ability to be able to say, I don't know, sorry, I cannot answer your question. This is really important. This is what makes us human, not knowing. And the AI has not been programmed to say, I don't know. So it will always answer something, even if it's completely wrong, it's completely false, even if it's not true, they will answer something just because they were not programmed to say, I don't know. This is a real thing.
For this reason, I am totally agree with Shinzi.
Yeah. It's a yeah, I know it's real. The this topic is a real pain and burden for many of us. Yes. Any other comments from our listeners about this topic, about how they use AI responsibly? Anything that you would like to share? Feel free to share.
We only have about 2 minutes left. At 5 to the hour, Crispin, I'm going to turn it over to you. So if you have any last comments, please.
And I'm also going to share my LinkedIn profile for those who have LinkedIn. I would love to connect with you. I don't know if you have LinkedIn at your age in 7th grade, probably not, but I would love to stay in touch somehow. There's my contact details on my LinkedIn, so feel free to reach out to continue the conversation. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you again. A wonderful session, engaging. I've learned a ton of new things, which is fabulous. Crispin, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you. As we wrap up this inspiring section, thank you all for being part of World Futures Day. Young voices, your perspectives and participation have made this conversation truly meaningful. The journey doesn't end here. New facilitators and fresh conversation begin at the top of each hour. You're welcome to stay and continue exploring future possibilities with us. Quick announcements. If you enjoyed today, this kind of learning doesn't stop here. It continues through Teach the Futures global online youth futures community. Right now, we are offering the following learning experience. Campaigns for Change builds awareness, award-winning projects using futures literacy skills. Join Young Voices Future Voice Institute. We apply these learnings directly to your active projects and future initiatives. As part of World Futures Day, there is a special discount code to register. If you're not ready to take part in a learning experience yet, you can still stay connected. We would love to hear about your experience. Share your feedback and receive your badge of participation. Please fill out our survey. I will share the link in the chat now.
Once
Breakout
you're done
rooms
with,
will
go
close
ahead.
and you will be sent to the main room to prepare for the next section.
Thank you, Crispin. I was going to jump in and support you on that. We close in about 4 minutes, 29 seconds now, and it closes automatically. Or if you'd like, you could go ahead and hit the leave room button, but make sure that you don't leave the entire session, or you can just wait here and relax and enjoy the incredible space that we have here. I am going to stop recording at this time.